Hello everyone, we are in the north of Luxembourg today. We are at the Schumannseck. During the Battle of the Bulge, heavy fighting took place here. Today we are going to visit the memorial trail of the Schumannseck. We are going to meet a few of the local guides which will explain what happened here. And we are going to visit the National Liberation Memorial and a German anti-tank gun, the Pak-40. Usually at this point I would say let's get digging, but as you can see behind me, digging is highly illegal here and it's also quite dangerous. The woods today are generally safe, but around a third of the ordnance from the Battle of the Bulge never detonated. The Luxembourg Army's disposal unit is still called out 4 to 5 times a week. Walking is safe, but digging is not advised. And of course, it's illegal. For perspective, this is Luxembourg City's railway station now, and here it is in 1944. Even today, unexploded bombs are occasionally found there. On a battlefield, the amount of remaining ordnance is, of course, far greater. So today I won't say that, I will say let's get going. Now the first question we have to ask, of course, is why is there even a memorial trail here at the Schumannseck? 6 months after D-Day, things seem to go well for the Allies. Nearly all of France had been liberated and in record time. Belgium was mostly free as well, Luxembourg too. In the Netherlands, things didn't go quite as well as planned, with Operation Market Garden being a failure. Of course, we all know now how the war ended, but in late 1944 they didn't know that yet. The Nazis seemed to be on the defensive everywhere, but the going wasn't easy. And then the Nazis launched Operation Wacht am Rhein. The Nazis launched Operation Wacht am Rhein on the 16th of December 1944. They planned to be in Antwerp in just 3 days. The Belgian city of Bastogne, a vital crossroads on the way to Antwerp, was put under siege but never captured. On December 23rd, the 3rd US Army, under the command of General George Patton, launched a counterattack. Patton's troops came up from France, through Luxembourg and smashed into German lines. 1 day later, on December 24th, the German advance had run out of steam and literally out of fuel. On December 26th, Patton broke through at Bastogne and ended the siege. And the day after that, fighting broke out here at the Schumannseck. So, to give you a better idea of what we're talking about, the situation of the crossroads, the hills, everything, I've decided to give you a better look. But as you can see behind me, it's the hill behind me, but you cannot see it. So we're going to try something different. We are here in Nochtrange, which is more or less 3-5 kilometers from the Schumannseck. Wils is 1 kilometer over there, Bastogne is 20 kilometers over there. So I would say let's start. We are taking off from Nochtrange airfield, which is usually busy with skydivers, but now it's my runway. For this flight I picked the Junkers Ju-52, a real classic from the 1940s and 1930s. I even had a chance to fly in a real one years ago. Summer air, windows wide open, a mix of fresh breeze and exhaust fumes. But it was a marvelous experience. Of course, this plane also carries some heavy history. It was used by the German Luftwaffe in World War II, and we know that it was used during the Battle of the Bulge, and it was also used as Hitler's personal aircraft. So here's my question. Is it okay to choose a plane like this one for this video, or is its history too tricky? I'm curious what you think. Drop it in the comments. And we are leaving Nortrange, flying past Vils, which is the city you can see on your left. And a few moments later we are above the village of Nothum, which is from where the Americans attacked the crossroads, which you can see next to the bit of forest in the top left corner of the image. That's where the memorial trail lies. The Schumannseck, which is Luxembourgish for corner of Schumann, is a crossroads. The road from Bastogne to Luxembourg City connects here with the road from Vils. Vils is the biggest city in the northern half of Luxembourg. Capturing such a crossroads would make the following cleanup operations of the Bulge much easier for the American army. But we are nearly at the southern limit of the Bulge here and not too far away from its starting point. So the German soldiers sitting here had time to dig in. The American troops attacking the Schumannseck couldn't break through. They had to fight against the entrenched soldiers from the 5th Fallschirmjäger Division. So in effect, the Americans went up against German airborne troops, which are usually better trained and better equipped than regular soldiers. For nearly a month, American and German soldiers fought here in foxholes and trenches, in bitter cold, through ice, fog and deep snow. Temperatures dropped to between -10 and -20 degrees Celsius. That's 4 to 14 degrees below zero Fahrenheit. The battle was fierce and in some aspects it resembled trench warfare from World War I. In the end, the Americans broke through, but somewhere else, and they were able to free the crossroads because the Germans had to retreat to avoid getting surrounded. The city of Vils was only liberated on the 21st of January 1945. And that is why there is a memorial trail here at the Schumannseck in the north of Luxembourg. The local high school, the Lycée du Nord de Vils, has an optional class called Passeur de Mémoire. Its students are quite the experts on this memorial trail, so before we walk on, I'll give them the microphone.
Hello, we would like to introduce ourselves. We are the students of the optional course Passeur de Mémoire from the Lycée du Nord in Vils, Luxembourg. Our mission is to keep our memories from the past alive. Our focus lies on the Second World War and what had happened during that time here in Luxembourg. The Schumannseck, one of the many places where the dramatic and horrible Battle of the Bulge took place from December 16, 1944 to January 21st of 1945. Here, under extreme weather conditions, young soldiers fought each other. The American soldiers were sent into combat to fight for the liberation not only for Luxembourg, but for the European continent. On the other side, young Germans were sent here to fight for the Nazi regime.
The Sentier de la Mémoire is a trail leading through the woods of Schumannseck with information boards, rebuilt wooden shelters and foxholes, with QR codes giving access to video and audio material, and many life-alike posters with real pictures from that time. The trail stands as a reminder of the terrifying battle and is a symbol of commemoration and peace. It also wants to remind everyone walking here where humanity had once been in the past and to where it could always return. If we are not aware of the past and act like democratic and human values are not as important.
We are going to start our visit of the trail here in the middle of it. We came from the south. Usually you would start at the west, but we will make it a bit differently today. So let's get not digging, let's get going. I'm curious, how many of you have already heard of this trail or maybe even visited it? If you have, if you've been here before, drop me a comment in the comments. Here we can see a crater left by a bomb dropped by a plane. It's an impressive hole, but compared to the craters from battlefields like Verdun, it's actually not that big. But at Verdun, landscaping was done by artillery more than by planes. And as this panel tells us, William Harrell Nellis died not far from here during the Battle of the Bulge. You may not have heard of him, but you've probably heard of Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. It's the home airport of the US Air Force Demo Squadron, the Thunderbirds, and Area 51 is not far away from it either. But yes, this reminds us again of the folly of war. To cross an ocean to crash in the woods of the Earthling because some idiot has decided to conquer the world. And from here we are moving to a spot where we can take a look at bunkers, so please, let's move on. I have read that the fighting conditions here can be compared to the trench warfare from World War I. It is hard to imagine, though, how tough the situation must have been back in 1944 with the snow and the fog. There are grooves nearby, near the bunkers, but that's not part of the system of trenches. They are actually quarries. So we are nearly at our next stop. We will walk past these few panels that give you the big picture. I will not show them to you in detail because you're not here to read panels, this being a video after all, but we are nearly at our next stop. And now here we have arrived at the Melchior House, which is officially the starting point of the memorial trail, and we will take a look at, but not much, as you will see soon. This house belonged to the Melchior family. Like many other families, they didn't have anywhere to go during the Battle of the Bulge. So the mother stayed in the cellar with her 7 children while the battle raged on overhead. The Germans used this house as their headquarters during the battle, and, well, yes, it was badly damaged, but it also never got repaired after the war. So, still no digging, but from here we will walk to the other end of the trail to take a look at the mass grave. So on your way you will see a very, very interesting and disturbing tree. And our next stop is the foxholes. And on our way to the mass grave, we stop at the foxholes, but I let Mr. Simon, or Kevin as his pupils call him, explain to us.
Marching through the former battlefield, we can still see some foxholes around. They were dug by mostly American soldiers, very hastily, in order to offer them some form of protection in an otherwise very open battlefield, both from climate and from enemy fighting. Snipers, grenades, artillery shelling. And these foxholes were mostly, well, shared by 2 soldiers. But in fact, we must not mistake them for some form of bunker or safe haven in this mess. But thing is, you couldn't light a cigarette. You couldn't make a fire to cook water for tea or soup. these places were, well, rough shelters for the soldiers fighting. They were rough because they were hastily dug, because the Americans came in a rush. They had to defend the positions they were told to, and they had no fortifications whatsoever. So they just dug some holes in the ground, in the frozen ground, because we were winter, 44, 45, and which isn't an easy task, especially when you're under fire from snipers shooting, shelling. So these dugouts were just provisional shelters.
So I don't know if you can see on the camera, here's another foxhole. The area is dotted with foxholes. We are nearly at the start of the trail again, but I told you at the beginning we are walking it a bit differently. We will now be heading to the other side of the trail to the Mass Grave Memorial. So follow me. Okay, so for those who are a bit lost with my explanations, for those who are wondering what we've actually done today, my cameraman and me, we parked here, right next to the Schumann's Eck. We took a small path up to the place of reflection. Then we went down here against the official route of the Memorial Trail, took a look at the bomb crater, took a look at the bunkers. Here's the Melchior House, which is the official starting point. And then we went back the wrong way again. And from here, we took the big tour. And now we are at the Mass Grave. And when we're done here, we're going back here at the Café Schumann to eat and also to take a look at the Liberation Memorial and the German anti-tank gun. So now we are here at the Mass Grave. There was a mass grave here once, but I will let Zoe explain it to you.
The site of Schumann's Eck is one of the most important memorial sites in Luxembourg when it comes to World War II. The weather conditions were so harsh in that winter that many soldiers, even if they were not shot, succumbed to frostbite, adding to the casualties of a bloody battle. The number of the fallen soldiers is so high that they could not all be identified or given proper burials at that time, especially not in the midst of combat. This led to the decision to create a mass grave to commemorate the fallen from both sides. Over 4,000 American and German soldiers gave their lives on quite a small piece of land.
And as Zoe has explained, these woods were the site of the deadliest battle on Luxembourgish soil in World War II. There were 4,000 American casualties, and while we don't have the exact number of German casualties, the guesstimations here evaluate them at between 2,000 and 4,000 fatalities. So less than a month of fighting took 6,000 to 8,000 casualties here in this small patch of forest. So we have walked the trail. We have taken a look at the Mass Grave Memorial. We will now head back towards the National Liberation Memorial and end our video today at the German anti-tank gun, the Pak-40. So let's get going. Well, let's get going. I'm always saying let's get going, let's keep going, because I think we are nearly at the end of the trip. So let's move on. And here you can see me giving a masterful and perfectly understandable explanation of the battle to my ever-patient cameraman, Mario. Okay, so we are here. Vils is over there. And you cannot see it entirely, but Bastogne is just over there. So I don't know how important this battle was in the grand scheme of things, but it's not the smallest of battles for Luxembourgish standards. So here we are at the National Liberation Memorial. The trail is right there, the crossroads is right there, but it's a bit loud because, well, it's a crossroads and it's a major road linking Luxembourg to Belgium. So I hope you can hear me. The National Liberation Memorial at Schumann's Eck commemorates Luxembourg's liberation and the end of the Battle of the Bulge. Standing here beside the memorial trail, it is shaped like a ruin, a symbol of war's destruction and human suffering. Today, it warns us of what is lost when peace disappears. Each year, commemorative ceremonies are held here, drawing international attention, especially from the United States. And here we are at our last stop, the German anti-tank gun, the Panzerabwehrkanone 40, or 40 in English. When we first came here to prepare for filming, we thought it had a short, unfinished barrel, a sign of Germany's rush to mass produce. We checked, and of course we were wrong. The Pak 40 actually has a long barrel with a muzzle brake. This one here simply has lost its end, though I couldn't find out why exactly. Later, at the Bastogne Barracks Museum, I saw an intact Pak 40, which is clearly in far better shape than this one here near Wils. I tried to film a panning shot to show you the layout of the area, but the traffic kept getting worse, and I didn't want to show you a blurred image. So here's some footage I shot on my phone during our first visit at Schumannseck. So here we have Café Schumann. This is the road to Bastogne. This is the road towards Wils. There's the Liberation Memorial, and here in front of us we have a German Pak 40. Panzerabwehrkanone 40. So this is the end of the video. If you liked it, feel free to subscribe to the channel, to share the video with your friends, to leave a like, leave a comment. And at this point here, I would also like to give a special thanks to the Passeur de Mémoire of the local high school, the Lycée du Nord in Wils. My name is Thomas. This has been Stones and Bones. I hope you can hear me because there's a lot of traffic behind you. But yeah, I'll see you soon. Thanks.
It also wants to remind everyone walking here where humanity had once been in the past and to where it could always return. If we are not aware of the past and act like democratic and human values are important. Like democratic and human values are important. Like human values and democratic rights are as important.
Not all.
Oh my God.
Wir sollen für noch as important schneiden Tenor zu singen, Mama.
Okay. Are not as important.